there's a lot of women-only networking groups, and I think guys just need a space to kind of have a little place to relax, but also be around like-minded people who sort of understand some of the pressures that you might not be able to talk about as a guy, just because we put these doors on ourselves, these walls up of like, we can't show people the stress we're going through or whatever.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Connections That Matter. Today, I have a super special guest, somebody that has connect in the name of their business, Dr. Shpendi. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I brought Shpendi on the show because I met you at a hustle hour.
Yes,
and
sir.
You greeted me, but you are, in addition to being a great chiropractor, you're also a great networker. So
do what I can. I try a little bit.
Well, for those who haven't been in your office or have met you at an event, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So my wife and I own Reconnect Chiropractic in Loveland. We are a family chiropractic office. That just means that we have a bit of a broad spectrum. We also specialize in pediatric and prenatal care. So see lots of babies, lots of pregnant women, but we like to take care of the whole family, essentially, from birth all the way to the other end.
Like in the hospital, like delivery room?
My wife has gone to multiple deliveries, not in the hospital, but home births and birthing centers and things like that. We can help during that process as well. Usually we'll take care of everybody in the office before they're actually at that process. But there are certain things that we can do with our techniques to try and aid if there's some stalling or things like that.
How did you specialize, like pediatric, or add that where?
Oh, man. So I went to school thinking I was going to be a sports chiropractor. Like most guys, I think. I was going to go get my degree, go work for the Patriots, take care of Tom Brady. Once I got there, I learned a lot about chiropractic and kind of a different side of it and how you can really help the nervous system and help kids with it. I figured, athletes have enough being taken care of. So truly, really have a joy for working with kids because you can it's easier to keep people healthy than trying to fix them. So if you can start them on the right path early on, you give them the best opportunity in life. So
when you mentioned New England and stuff, but your route to Northern Colorado is a very interesting one.
Yes.
For those who maybe don't know your background, share a little bit about your origin story, how you got here.
Long story. I'm going to try and make it short. So I was born in Kosovo, small little country in Eastern Europe. Grew up there until I was about 13. There was some conflicts of war and things there. So ended up in the U.S. As a refugee. Grew up mostly in Connecticut. From there, went to Dallas to go to chiropractic school. Met my beautiful wife. She wanted to move to Colorado. I wanted to marry her, and we ended up in Colorado.
That you did make that really a short story. I'm just imagining like the refugee. I mean, what was it? What was it like back home, and then making the decision to be like, hey, we need to get out of here, and out of all the places, why the U.S.?
Yeah. So the U.S. is always a big country, obviously.
Sure.
Everybody wants the American dream. So when we were growing up in Kosovo, we had a good life. But 98, 99, there was a big war there, essentially a genocide. And my family, we were lucky enough to survive. Not everyone, but, we survived. And then after the war, there's a lot of loss, a lot of trauma, things like that. So my parents were essentially looking to give us a new opportunity. And we ended up coming to the U.S. as refugees. It's a bit of a long process on how you can get there. There's certain lotteries you have to enter, and it's kind of a long process for you to be able to come through. It's not just walking through the front door, but after that process, my parents put a lot of work in, and once we made it to the U.S., we ended up in Connecticut. And then essentially it's a new stage of life after that, of how you can kind of start creating your American dream. And thank my parents for that all the time because they had to start fresh,
Imagine with nothing. Yeah.
It's pretty much it. I think we had backpacks of clothes when we moved out here. So, you have to learn the new language. You have to start from scratch on a new business and everything else like that. But
did they have any English?
My mom spoke English. She was kind of the only one that understood a lot of the English.
Did you speak English?
No, we start taking English in school over there at a very early age.
Okay.
Like it used to be in 5th grade. So I understood some English because I was in 6th, 7th grade when I moved here, but not speaking English, no. But once you're immersed in it, you learn quite a bit around. I also tell everybody that I learned a lot from Bob Barker. I used to watch The Price is Right a lot when we moved here.
Well, if you're in the New England area, I don't hear the park the car and all that stuff.
I didn't think I had an accent. I moved to Dallas. People were like, hey, you have a New England accent. I was like, really? I didn't know that was a thing. But I think I'm pretty standard on my accent.
Yeah, totally.
Albanian accent where I'm from. In Kosovo, we speak Albanian. It's not a very sexy accent, so I'm glad I don't have that accent either.
Sure. So when you were coming over, you're, 6th, 7th grade, so old enough to remember, I would imagine. It's not like you have vague memories when you were a little kid or...
No, we remember all of it, yeah. At that age, once you're going through everything, you remember all of it. I think you just, at some point, you try to create little blockades, I think, to have that in the past memory, but also not forget so that you can try and avoid things like that in the future as well. But I remember most of it. So.
But that getting there with a backpack, or, you got your family or some of your family, you said. That, they didn't all come through, but you gotta create a life. You gotta, get established, a new shot at it.
Yeah.
What was like that the initial part of like digging in, getting established, getting some traction? What does that even look like?
So once we moved here, like I said, we ended up in Connecticut. A lot of organizations, a lot of people are willing to help when they kind of know what you've been through, I think. So we were lucky. We got quite a bit of help from local community there. My parents both kind of immediately jumped into trying to figure out, obviously, how to create a new life, create new work. So my dad, growing up in Kosovo, he had a big tire business with my uncle. Obviously, moving here, you have to learn the language. You have to kind of wait through your process of going through the paperwork and things like that. So I feel like his first job here was actually washing dishes, which for a man that's had a business for 20-something, 30 years, however long it was, started fresh. But he's a very resourceful man. I've gotten my work ethic from him, and I thank him for that. But he, built from one thing to another, and now him and my brother have a pretty big tire business in Connecticut together. So kind of reestablished what he had again. As a kid, my job was make sure that I don't mess up those opportunities that they're trying to give us. So get to school, do good in school, do all that kind of stuff to try and get acclimated. So,
well, I just hear like the reverence for your family, and your mom spoke a little English. Dad goes and doesn't mind washing dishes to get really established. But if you had to boil down maybe like one piece of advice that your parents gave to you that has led to your success, that would be something you could share with other Northern Colorado business owners, what would you say?
I would say adapt and don't be too proud to do what you need to do to get to where you want to get.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Where do you want to go now? Like you're in Loveland. You got you're doing hustle hours. And,
hustle hours been a fun thing. That's a guys networking group. You've been to that before. Lots of fun group. We get to hang out with some guys.
Yeah, plug it. When and where do you meet?
Connections. We meet usually once a month. We've been meeting at 477 Distillery in Loveland. They're a great place. They let us host there. We used to jump around a few different places, but that's been a solid place. They got good drinks, good people, good service, good community center spot.
Yeah.
So it's been great. Other than that, always dreams of growing the business and growing to other businesses, I think. My wife and I have aspirations to create a health center, essentially.
Yeah.
So we have our own business. We focus a lot on chiropractic and neurologic chiropractic, more overall health rather than just aches and pains. But our goal is to essentially get other providers that do similar overall health things, more natural health, in kind of a central location and just be sort of the one-stop shop for everybody.
Well, and then who you pick for those practitioners are key, right? I mean, you want to have somebody that if you're in the same health center together, like you're committed, but how would you qualify people? Who are you recruiting? Like how do you develop those kind of partnerships with the other people that would come into your health center?
I'm very much a meet people in person and see how they are and who they are rather than just going off credentials.
Right. Okay.
So I think like right now I have an amazing acupuncturist that's been with me for a while. She's awesome. You
want to give her a shout out? Yeah.
Chloe.
Yeah.
Her name is Chloe. Chloe
right
Goldberg. She owns Bloom Acupuncture.
Cool.
She has been awesome, but I met her before she was even a chiropractor or an acupuncturist. I met her when she was a bartender a long time ago, and I knew she was going to go to school, and I was like, she's just a good person that cares for people, right? So when I'm kind of seeing who we want around us in the future as well, it's always that same mentality of like, what's your view on people? For us, what's your view on health and just overall people and how you want to help? Are you more money-minded and business-minded, which is nothing wrong? But for me, I want somebody that's more of, it's got that character that wants to take care of people and help people.
Yeah.
If we can all be on the same page that way, I think everything else will just fall into place.
Very cool. What's it like working with your wife?
People always ask that. They've been asking that since we were first out of school, I think. They're like, you're going to work with your wife? Yeah, actually, we like each other. We have a good time. We have opposite things that we're good at.
Okay.
And I am very lucky to have that because she's very organized. A lot of behind the scenes things that keep a business going. Shout out to her for that.
Yeah.
I'm very much I've got the idea and let's just go do it. And she is going to create the steps and figure out how we're going to do it. So we do complete different things. And then as far as the actual chiropractic care, she's got different specializations than I do. And between both of us, that kind of allows us to be able to take care of everybody and not turn anybody away.
Yeah.
But, all things have their hardships. So you have to just make sure you kind of figure things ahead of time and not argue in business about different things that don't matter.
Totally.
So we enjoy it. We love it. We've got our little kiddo. He comes by the office all the time. He's our youngest employee at 3 years old right now. So
right on.
He has a good time. He's part of the social media team.
Sure. But he slays. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's interesting because I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting up, and the spouse maybe is not the primary business. It sounds like you guys are co-owners and stuff like that. But how do you put on like the husband hat versus the coworker hat, or are they different hats at all? Or
that is partly an always evolving thing.
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
Right. When we went into business, we actually toured a lot of different offices that had couples as chiropractors while we were still students, just to see what worked and what didn't. And one of those things always was making sure that you have a separation. Right.
Yeah.
When we go home, we are parents, we are husband and wife, we have a good time, we try and create a separation, but it is always overlapping because chiropractic is our life. That's our lifestyle. It's not just a job we're getting up and doing. That is from wake up to bedtime. That's just who we are, right? So it's always an evolving thing of trying to separate certain things and create patterns, but you have to work at it.
Yeah.
We recently, beginning of the year, actually stopped working on Fridays. I used to go into the office on Fridays, and it was draining a little bit.
Sure.
So now Fridays essentially are our family day. We go on hikes, we focus on the kiddo, we have good times, things like that. So it's just realizing what's important to you. And for me, when you're getting in the hustle of working all the time, you can kind of forget sometimes that what you're doing it for, which is them. So
absolutely.
Kind of realizing to wake up and focus on that first and then the other one.
How about, as a dad now, right? Like, so you obviously have a lot of respect for your parents, what they did to get you. And here you have the opportunity to pass that along.
Yeah.
What do you want your kids to grow up to have or to be or to, values that they hold?
To be a good person. Just yesterday, my 3-year-old, which I thought was actually a very good answer for a 3-year-old, because I was like, bud, you want to play soccer? My wife says I push him too much for soccer. I'm like, you want to be a chiropractor? You want to be soccer? And he said, I just want to be me, which is pretty, in my opinion, pretty profound for a 3-year-old to say. And I was like, that's okay. You be you. But my goal is just to educate them in being a good person. and then kind of figure out the rest of what you want to do after that.
Do you feel pressure as a dad or as a...
I feel like that's always a yes, right?
Right.
As a dad. And we actually have one more coming. Got another kiddo joining in March. So there's always pressure, I think, as a dad. But the other thing is that I've always just wanted to be a dad. That's like my greatest, I think, accomplishment is being a dad. So there's pressure that you just don't want to let them down. You don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all they want is your time. Right? Like we put all these extra pressures on us. We got to give them this and give them that and give them this. All they want is our time and playtime. So,
for sure. And so, how do you? I love all that. And then, as a chiropractor, how are you getting clients? Is it referrals? Is it? What's your balance of how you acquire new clients?
So, at this point, we've been in practice about 5.5 years, coming up on 6, I think. Referrals are our main thing, and that's the greatest compliment you can have, right? Somebody trusts you to send their family members in, especially for what we do.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So referrals are definitely our number one. But to get where we are, you always need a net in the community, I think.
Yeah, to
be able to tell other people about you as well. So getting out and networking and just meeting people is always a great thing. Just for people to kind of know who you are and know that you are a trustworthy person for them to refer to you. So networking groups have always been great for me as well, just for essentially growing who we are in the community.
Well, it's one thing to join a networking group, but it's another one to host it and lead it and guide it. And I don't normally see that from the health and wellness industry as much. I see like health and wellness meetups, but when did you decide to like start throwing the hustle hours and then making it a guys focused event? Yeah,
so I'm gonna go back just to one thing. So the reason I like to do the different types of things, not just health focused, is to not necessarily just, I guess, grow myself. It's more so to grow chiropractic.
Yeah,
because there's so many people I meet that just have misinformation or are afraid of chiropractors because they've seen something and they don't understand it. So if I can be a small part of just educating a few people on what we do, that's always a good bonus for me. But the hustle hour specifically, my wife and I do a lot of different networking events and always have since we moved here to just grow and learn. But the guys thing was just started originally as a joke, and then it just seemed like there was a need for it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of women-only networking groups, and I think guys just need a space to kind of have a little place to relax, but also be around like-minded people who sort of understand some of the pressures that you might not be able to talk about as a guy, just because we put these doors on ourselves, these walls up of like, we can't show people the stress we're going through or whatever. So in my head, I was like, you know what, it's just the guys once a month happy hour, let's just relax. But at the same time, you can make connections. You can learn who these people are, because people always want to refer to people they trust and know, instead of just transactional kind of thing. So,
well, and whether people are finding it because they're getting invited by somebody who knows about Hustle Hour, or you got a Facebook group where you're advertising. One thing I do see that you do, though, Shpendi, is if there's somebody who's never been before, a new guest or whatever, you spend a lot of time with them to make sure that they're have a sense of belonging, they're welcomed, and they have a good event. And I understand that that's really an intentional thing to do, because it's easy just to have a conversation with somebody you already know, but you're very focused on like welcoming in all the new people. And any tips for other people networking of way to really capture some of the goodwill and organizing a great event, or creating really overall a connected community?
I would say I had a few answers as you were asking that question, and now I can't figure out which one to answer right away. I think the best thing you can do when you're going to an event, so if you're going and joining an event that's already there, just be you. Be authentically you. Don't go there trying to be a salesperson. Don't go there trying to, intentionally get leads right away. It's a lot better if you're just showing up, focus on that person in front of you. If you're going from one shake to another, just focus on who that person is, right? Because they're going to learn who you are. Everybody's there to network. We're going to ask what you do. We're going to ask, what you need help with. But let's just focus on that connection part at first, right? As simple as a handshake, eye contact, kind of things like that. If you're looking to grow a group, that is maybe make some friends and have some help a little bit. That's always a good thing. In the beginning, I was trying to do a lot more with this, and it was just getting to be a little bit too much. I was trying to change locations and host at different areas and things like that. And as a one-man show there, it was getting to be a little too much for me. I do have friends that always started offering help and things like that, but it was from those discussions that all the guys that normally come to the group, and they're like, hey, let's just host it here. We're all having a good time. People know where we are. Having that consistency. Consistency is kind of key in those scenarios, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered that question.
That was perfect. How did you come up with Reconnect?
Reconnect Chiropractic is taking a different approach to chiropractic rather than just pain-based. There's a lot of neurological-based chiropractic is what essentially we call it. Our focus is always on the brain, because anytime you make an adjustment, you're affecting certain nerves that send a message to the brain. The brain sends a message back down to the body to start that healing process. Mm-hmm. So Reconnect is actually just us trying to help reconnect your brain to your body. Right? There's a big disconnect when people get sick. It's not always necessarily because of a germ or a virus, because you could have 10 people in a row, expose them to the exact same thing. Maybe, why do some get sick and why not? Because certain people's body essentially is functioning at a higher level. Their nervous system is clearer. Your brain can communicate with your body a little bit better. It can heal whatever it has to heal. When there's a disconnect there's a little bit of a pinching of a nerve or whatever, and the brain just can't fully talk to that organ or tissue. There's a disconnect. So our whole process is, let's help you reconnect with your body and help you stay healthy.
Love that. And in Loveland, there's, I think people probably more so than nationwide, are generally accepting of chiropractic. So maybe good job for all the evangelizing you have.
Thank you.
Right?
I guess I'll take it.
If you go to some of the other places, they might not be as open. But with that, there's also probably a lot more chiropractors around northern Colorado. Mm-hmm. So what do you do to stand out from your competition?
When we moved to Loveland, we noticed one with specializing in pediatric and prenatal. That was a little bit of a niche. There's a few in Loveland. We're friends with all of them.
Sure.
I think in chiropractic, the majority of us have the mentality of rising tide. We all have a different technique. We all have different specialties. We all have different cares that we want out of it. There's about 300 different techniques in chiropractic. So a lot of people do different things. Especially in northern Colorado, honestly, we didn't do too much to be like, what do we do for this competition or for that competition? Yeah. Our first 2 months of moving there, chiropractors reached out to us and was like, hey, we're all hosting a party together. Do you want to come out?
Nice.
So it was good to meet those people. We refer to other chiropractors for certain things that we don't do. Other chiropractors refer to us for things that we do. So we kind of take the approach of, hey, we're trying to help as many people as we can. If we're not the right people, let's send you to our friends down the road. They're going to be able to help you, because just not enough people get full chiropractic, in my opinion. So, I know, silly to say, but we don't see a huge percentage of the population for as popular as chiropractic has gotten.
Sure.
So, the more there are, the better.
Well, I love that you get referrals and give referrals to what your competition would be. And I think that's a definitely underlooked part of networking, is building those relationships with people within your industry.
Yeah.
How do you set those up? How do you choose who to refer out to? How do you get invited to those kind of parties and those kind of things, or really integrate into the chiropractic community in northern Colorado?
I think honestly, just reaching out to people. Like if somebody has a birthday that I know has a birthday, we'll stop by their office with something simple to be like, hey, happy birthday. Even though they're our competition, as people would say.
Yeah.
It's just keeping those connections. Like did some Christmas pictures in the office. We're getting ready to send out thank you cards and some gift cards to all of our referral partners, just as a thank you. We co-work a lot with since we see a lot of pregnancy, we work a lot with doulas and midwives as well. So it's just keeping the connections, keeping the door open, but also just genuinely wanting to thank them for what they do.
Sure.
So we send thank you cards pretty regularly. for those types of things, or gifts, baskets, and things like that. Other than that, honestly, I think just staying connected, I guess.
And Loveland's not a very big place in a lot of ways.
Right. It's a community where you are part of the community, and you don't get lost in it, if that makes sense, as a business, right? You can open a business if you have a community mentality. You become part of it and integrate it, and the community wants to help you grow, whatever that community looks like. So
yeah. Well, Shpendi, you had previously mentioned Chloe, your acupuncturist that you connect with. Is there anybody else that you connect with, you collaborate with, you refer out to, that's just really made Reconnect a special place?
Yes, but this is one of the hardest questions I thought about coming into this, actually. Just because
don't leave anybody out, right?
We have such a big community, right? And that's what I mean. I was like, you know what? You have this person, we have this, and there's just so many awesome people that have helped us. So instead of naming one person, I'm going to go by community.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you to all the doulas. Doulas are amazing in our community. They have a great community. My wife co-works a lot with a lot of them, goes to the different networking groups and things like that. But for us, the way we see that is, they are working with pregnant women, but they're teaching them a little bit about what chiropractic is, whether that's our office or other offices around town. They teach them what it is, which from my standpoint, we can help a woman avoid a C-section. We can help a woman have a healthy baby, reduce labor time. So thank you to all the doulas that give us the opportunity to be able part of the team and help out. But other than that, you've been to the Hustle Hour groups. Those guys are just amazing, from a different perspective, not just the pregnancy. They refer in all the time, even if they've never been themselves, because they understand that, I guess they understand my character, and they know that I'm maybe a trustworthy person. So they're like, hey, go see this person, versus just somebody you might not know.
Well, I just ran into John Peshane.
I love John.
He's probably like your biggest hype man or number one fan of the Hustle Hour.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. And, he's always tagging me on Facebook, and people are like, looking for somebody trustworthy. He's always the first one from Fort Collins to anywhere in northern Colorado. And there's other guys that do the same thing, which I appreciate from the heart. But that's just such a awesome group, I think. Once you have that connection and that trust, and once people know your character, they want to see you succeed. They want to help you. So John is great. Shout out to John.
Shout out to John. Well, Shpendi, I wish we had more time. I'd love to keep going. But
same, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Who are watching this, maybe they want to come to Hustle Hour. Maybe they need an adjustment. Maybe they've been dealing with back or neck pain, and they I don't want to just take a bunch more Tylenol. Maybe I could go see Shpendi. But what kind of connections are you looking for? One, and then how can people get a hold of you?
Would love to help. Thank you for that. So the easiest way to get a hold of us, obviously, if you want to check out the website and see if you're comfortable with what we do, it's just reconnectchiro.com. Our office number is going to be 970-775-2903. And then if you have personal questions, you don't feel comfortable reaching out to the office, just feel free to text me or call my cell phone, 860-967-2675. And as far as connections, I'll just give a general shout out. If you have thought about trying chiropractic, if you have been afraid of chiropractic, you might not just have found the right one. There's just a lot of different types of techniques and things like that, because I meet a lot of people that just have seen a bunch of social media videos and are scared of it. That's not really what chiropractic is. It's just when you're gentle and specific, you don't get a lot of views on social media.
You're right.
So they do those crazy things. So just give chiropractic an opportunity before you kind of escalate into something more serious as far as surgeries or things like that. Just give it a chance, give it a try. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to follow through with what your chiropractor is recommending. It's just give it a chance. It will change your life, I promise. Change mine. So
right on. And follow the Facebook group for the next Hustle Hours.
Hustle Hour, yeah. It's just Hustle Hour. It says NoCo Men's Networking. There's about 130 guys on there, awesome guys. Feel free to post and shout out what you want on there. But once a month, I'll create the event. It'll be posted on there. It's a free event open to all guys. Come on out. There's always one or two girls that message like saying, "Can I come?"
No, yes.
no cooties, guys only. But it's a great group of guys. We have on average a good turnout. So come on out. We'll be happy to have you and make some connections and help you grow.
Right on. Well, Shpendi, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you around Hustle Hour.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey all, thanks for watching. I love networking and building relationships with other Northern Colorado business leaders. So if you want to come meet some of these podcast guests, meet me, or meet some other amazing entrepreneurs in Northern Colorado, I would love to have you attend one of our next events. Go in the podcast description. There's a ways that you can see our upcoming schedule, and maybe you could be a future podcast guest as well. Thanks.